So first of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee, especially Dr. Nitesh, Professor Devraj, for inviting me to deliver a talk in this prestigious 5 days workshop at Purvanchal University. Hello, my voice is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today I will talk about Raman spectroscopy, a versatile tool for the chemical analysis. Actually, Raman spectroscopy not only have application in chemistry, physics, biology, in material science, even all branches of science and engineering have direct implementation by the Raman spectroscopy. And it is a pride moment that Raman spectroscopy was discovered by Indian scientist Sir C.V. Raman, who got the first Nobel Prize from physics in India in 1928. So for this purpose, I have divided my presentation in 5 distinct points. First of all, I will describe about the historical background of the Raman spectroscopy. What is the so special about Raman effect? Why classical theory was failed to explain the Raman effect? And how the quantum theory explained successfully the Stokes and anti-Stokes Raman line. And what the information generally we can carry out from the Raman spectral feature in 3 different parameters like frequency shift, line width change, and relative intensity. Further, more than 25 variants of the Raman spectroscopy has been developed so far. Among them, I will also explain at least 3 Raman spectroscopic technique: resonance Raman, surface enhanced Raman, tip enhancement Raman, and coherent anti-Stokes Raman and their application. Further, out of several applications of Raman spectroscopy, I will focus on Raman spectroscopy application for molecular interaction, structural property relationship like hydrogen bond interaction, how we can detect by Raman spectroscopy. What would be application of Raman in carbon-based material like graphene, carbon nanotube, fullerene, as well as surface enhanced Raman spectroscopy as a bioanalytic tool using the nanoparticles, how we can apply it as a sensor and self-healing polymer. Moreover, if time allowed, I will also cover the recent advancement of the Raman spectroscopy to investigate the COVID-19 virus. So what happens when light falls in a molecule or material? Generally, light matter interaction known as spectroscopy. If any light in terms of electromagnetic radiation falls on any molecules or material, then your light can be either absorbed, either transmit, either reflect, either scattered from your molecular sample. It means that all these absorbed or reflected sample contain every information about your molecules and material. These types of spectral known as spectroscopy, where light contains all the information about the molecules and material, about the structure, properties, dynamics, everything. It depends on the scattering or luminescence. Various types of spectroscopy had been developed. If suppose light is absorbed, UV visible absorption spectroscopy, light is scattered, that is Raman scattering or relay scattering. If your material showing the fluorescence, that is fluorescence spectroscopy, a part of this. Moreover, we can understand that electromagnetic radiation or light on the basis of their energy can be divided into various electromagnetic part of region. You can see a radio wave region which have frequency very less. Either you can remember in wave number per centimeter, or you can remember in wavelength meter or in nanometer. So all the units are given here. If you are taking the radio wave to incident on your any molecule material, generally it provided the information about the spin orientation in magnetic field. Same way, microwave, if you put on your molecule sample, it will provide the molecular rotational information about this. Similar way, if you are applying infrared light on your molecule vibration, on your molecules and material, generally it will provide the information about the molecular vibration, because every molecules have vibrational level, rotational level, electronic level. Every these types of information you can obtain by different electromagnetic radiation when we incident on it. So generally we are providing the information about the molecular vibration. Since Raman and IR both are complementary technique, both are giving similar information, still there are some difference, because Raman change in polarizability is must condition, and for IR change in dipole moment is required condition. So we can see most of the fundamental frequency for any molecule generally falls in the mid IR region from 200 to 4000 centimeter inwards, you can say. So generally all the Raman spectral feature or all the spectral property of any molecule material are coming from mid IR region, that is the fundamental vibrational region. Further, UV region, if you incident on your molecule is so the UV visual absorption, X-ray spectroscopy, gamma. So all these types of spectroscopy techniques can be achieved by the apply of the light to any molecules and material. So since we are going to focus on only this part, molecular vibrations of molecules, which are giving information by Raman spectroscopy, and you know that all the molecules and material are generally made by various functional groups like CH, NH, OH, SH, CO, CC. All these types of molecular vibrations can contain information in the Raman spectroscopy. And at different frequency, because due to the lighter or heavier atom, its frequency can become at different position according to mu is equal to 1/2 pi under root k by mu. If mass is larger, it means that frequency is lower. Like CH will vibrate at a higher frequency because of light weight. But if we're talking about C double bond O, so C double bond O have heavier atom compared to CH, its frequency will be 1700 centimeter inward. So generally this Raman shift are the characteristics property of any molecules and material. C double bond O functional group always occupies same position of the molecule. Like generally C double bond O stretching mode occurs at 1700 centimeter inverse position. So whatever if you are going to characterize any unknown sample at any 1700 peak, if you are getting it, then immediately you can say that C double bond O functional group are present in your molecules and material. And if any change in your molecules and material by environment, by pH or local solvent, you can identify any change in that particular vibrational mode by interaction, because of spectral shape will be changed in that particular functional group. So types of molecular vibration, because Raman generally give the information about the molecular vibration, because all the molecule have chemical bond and this chemical bond have some vibrations. These vibrations are happening in picosecond order in your molecule. That particular molecular vibrations can be assigned. First task is to assign that particular vibrational P. So there are fundamental vibration, as I told you, 200 to 4000 centimeter inwards. Sometimes overtones and combination tones also excite, but it's a very weak signal. So this stretching vibration, bending vibration, symmetric stretching, anti-symmetric stretching, out of plane bending, in plane arm bending, wagging, twisting, scissoring, rocking, all these types of vibrations can be obtained in your molecule, which can be characterized by Raman spectroscopy at different peak position or frequency. So let us see. I am seeing this presentation of Raman spectra for simple example of water molecule. Suppose if your molecule is linear, then there will be number of atoms or number of vibrations will be 3 and minus 5. N means number of atom, because of degrees of freedom. Your atom can be vibrating x, y, z direction or some rotational constant there. So 3 and minus 5 means if n is the number of atom. In water molecule, you can say that there are 3 number of atom. It means that total number of vibrations will be 3 into 3 minus 5 for case of linear molecule like CO2 molecule, which are linear. But since water is non-linear molecule, where hydrogen and water oxygen make 108 degree almost, so it is a non-linear structure. So it can have 3 and minus 6 number of vibrations. It means 3 into 3 minus 6, 3 number of vibrations is possible in water molecule. These vibrations can be, you can say, this is the bending mode, where all the two OH mode are coming to the like this way, so we call it bending motion. And this bending mode vibrations have 1620 centimeter inverse frequency. And if you apply the Raman spectra or light on your water molecule, then scattering will be possible from water. Then you will find that this peak at 1620 centimeter. However, there are two other modes, symmetric stretching and anti-symmetric stretching mode of the water molecule. Symmetric stretching means both OH are combined together, come together and out together. So we call it symmetric OH stretching mode. Generally, it happens at 3600 and 3800, that is known as OH anti-symmetric stretching. So Raman and IR both are giving similar information but slightly different intensity. So now you can characterize the water molecule contaminant. If your water molecule is not pure, then this peak will be changed according to your situation, how the water molecule are contaminated by mercury or any local environment of that your particular molecule. So this is the Raman spectroscopy, whatever you are getting in terms of peak position. So this is another mode like symmetric, antisymmetric, scissoring mode, rocking mode, wagging mode, twisting mode. Generally, every molecule, whatever larger molecule or smaller molecule like DNA, protein, every molecule have these types of vibrations. You have to assign that particular vibration, and every vibration have unique frequency in their thing. That frequency you can obtain in your Raman spectra. So why National Science Day? Actually, India celebrate on 28th February because Raman discovered this Raman effect on 1928 on the 20th February. And he got the Nobel Prize in Physics in the year of 1930 for scattering of light and the discovery of effect number. How did the idea come to his mind? Actually, C.V. Raman had visited Europe in 1921 in a British Oxford University in British Congress, where he had discussed his research with Rutherford, J.J. Thomson, and as Bragg scientists of the thing. And one day he was visiting a Mediterranean Sea in the Europe, and he saw the blue color of the Mediterranean Sea in the evening. And he has began doubt about the Rayleigh explanation of its color, because Rayleigh, who already got the Nobel Prize for the explaining the sky's blue color, he had told that this blue color of the sea can be simply a reflection of the sky. But Raman was not agreed that Rayleigh explanation about the blue color of the sea. And Raman had think about in those direction, and the idea about the Raman spectroscopy came from that visit. And that visit made a change the history in the field of Raman spectroscopy. That sea discovered the sea scattered light. Raman, after returning to India along with his PhD student K.S. Krishnan, he had applied a lot of experiment for the molecular spectrum. In previous time, he was actually confused. Generally, frequency shift why are coming when light is incident on a molecule, same frequency must be scattered according to Rayleigh. But Raman got the larger frequency and as well as lower frequency after scattering from the molecules. He was thought that these phenomena are coming from the some fluorescence of the impure sample of this. But when he repeated a lot of experiments for a lot of series of the molecules and materials, he found the same result, and he has found that this is a very unique result which are showing the experimental characteristics property of molecule. So this is the historical background. Actually, in 1923, Professor Schmeckel, a German scientist, already described the inelastic scattering of light, but it described in theoretical way. There was no any experimental evidence of that thing. But theoretically, Raman effect, you can say, was already predicted in 1923 without any observation of experiment. But in 1928, C.V. Raman and his PhD student K.S. Krishnan see this feeble fluorescence from neutron. In 1930, C.V. Raman got the Nobel Prize. 1961, invention of laser makes Raman experiment relevant, because at that time, C.V. Raman, that laser was not invented at that time. Actually, laser was invented in 1960. After that, this Raman spectroscopy field get a boom research area for the researcher, because due to unique property of laser, the more focused scattering and more focused information about the molecule can be achieved. Now, surface enhanced Raman scattering, which are generally providing a single molecular detection for explosive material, for any material like hazardous material, you can detect a very small amount of molecules and material trace amount by the Raman spectroscopy using the nanomaterial. I will discuss also the meaning of the surface enhanced Raman scattering, that is known as SERS. Nowadays, in 20th century, tip enhanced Raman are very, very important, where Raman spectroscopy in terms of SERS and scanning tunneling microscope combined together for providing the chemical information about the molecules and material. So now all branches of science and engineering, we can implement the Raman spectroscopy for characterize the molecule, not only physics, chemistry, biology, material science, medical science, tissue engineering, everywhere Raman have direct application for characterize the molecule. like trace gas single molecule analysis, carbon nanotube graphene, in situ biomolecule DNA, aqueous solution solid, analysis of functional material and smart material, single molecule behavior using surface enhanced Raman spectrum, analysis of cancer, viruses and other disease, diabetes, everything you can understand by the Raman spectroscopy because all the molecules like DNA, proteins or viruses or cancer, everything are made by chemical molecules made by the chemical bond. It means that there are some molecular vibrations are present in a molecule. It means that Raman spectroscopy will be easily applicable. So what is the Raman spectroscopy? Raman is a inelastic scattering of photon by a molecule of material. Suppose if you have any molecules or material which are in solid, liquid or gas, whatever. Now suppose if any light in from laser or photon, suppose a photon of energy h cut omega is incident on your molecule. Now what happens? If your scattered photon has the same frequency as the incident photon, we call it relay light. Actually, this relay scattering was already well known in 1904 by the Professor Relay. So this phenomena was already known. But what Raman has added in this discovery, actually Raman has found that the scattered photon can have lower frequency as the incident photon too. It means that initially frequency of the laser light or incident photon is h cut omega. Now scattered photon have h cut omega minus 1. Means its frequency has been less than incident photon. Similar way, if the scattered photon have larger frequency than incident photon, we call it anti-Stokes line. Why Stokes anti-Stokes? Because Stokes means less frequency in terms of fluorescence spectroscopy. That's why Raman has given name Stokes process here. The Stokes and anti-Stokes, both lines are equally spaced from the relay line. Generally, you can see that the intensity of these Stokes lines are larger than anti-Stokes. That's why normal Raman are recorded in the Stokes process because of due to the higher intensity of this. So Raman is a inelastic scattering by a photon of a molecules and material. You can see this obtaining Stokes and anti-Stokes process is known as Raman effect. Now this scattered photon contain every information about your molecular structure and dynamics. But however, Raman is a very weak process. You can say only one photon can be scattered inelastically. It means that Raman is very weak process. That's why I will discuss about the surface enhanced Raman scattering, how we can enhance the Raman signal by using the metal nanoparticle or plasmonic particle on that. So actually, classical theory had explained the Raman by classical theory, semi-classical theory, but it was
excuse me, sir. Please
yeah?
share your slide. Slide is not visible to us.
Okay.
Everything visible, please pin that to your main screen.
Yeah, I think from my side it is okay.
Sir, it's visible.
Okay. Now it is visible. I hope it is visible now.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. Still not visible. Mukesh Kota.
Now it's clear, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Visible, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so now classical theory has explained about the Raman effect by theoretical way, but it was unsuccessfully explained the Raman effect. Because suppose if you are talking about the classical effect, you know that photoelectric effect or thermal radiation, actually it was not described by the classical theory. Similar way, Compton effect, photoelectric effect was described as a quantum effect. Similar way, Raman effect was not successfully explained by the classical theory because suppose a molecule is irradiated by electromagnetic radiation where P is equal to alpha, E is the electric field, P is the polarization induced in your molecule, and if you expand this alpha polarizability in the Taylor expansion in the coordinate of Q and we electric field oscillate at E is equal to E0 cos omega t, then if you put this value in P is equal to alpha 0 in the del alpha upon del Q in terms of Taylor series, then we have found that induced dipole moment has frequency component and 3 component are coming, and the component of this all this multiplication of this omega 0 plus omega b, omega 0 minus omega b are similar. From this classical theory we can assume that coefficient of cos omega 0 plus omega b, omega 0 minus omega bt are same. According to classical theory, the Stokes and anti-Stokes theory intensity must be equal. Means classical theory successfully find the origin of Stokes and anti-Stokes line by this theoretical explanation. But according to the semi-classical theory, intensity must be equal, but it was not true. That's why it was unsuccessful to explain the Raman intensity of Stokes and anti-Stokes by classical theory. Now, quantum theory can explain successfully origin of the Raman effect. Suppose if you are any molecules and material which are in ground state. Ground state means B is equal to 0 state, vibrational state. Now, suppose if you are incident any light having photons h cut omega. Now your molecules take the energy from the photon and will go to the virtual energy state. Virtual energy is a not a real energy state. We can say it is an imaginary state where your molecule takes energy and come, and from here it will transit to the V equal to 0 state. We call it relay scattering because it scattered same frequency of the light whatever incident photon have, like h cut omega 0. We call it relay scattering. It was already known. And if your molecule suppose going from ground state to virtual energy state and scattered photon have less energy than incident photon by h cut omega minus omega 0, it will come to V equal to 1 state by radiating less energy. We call it Stokes process. But somewhere in somehow suppose your molecules or material is already in excited state of your molecule, then if your molecule return from excited state or virtual energy state to the ground state after radiating larger energy in terms of h cut omega plus omega 1, we call it anti-Stoke. So generally corresponding frequency you can say the intensity are finding here. Stokes have larger intensity than anti-Stoke line because Stokes line you can see that transitions are happening from the ground state. In ground state you know that population of the molecules or atom are much higher than your excited state. That's why in Stokes line intensity are much higher than anti-Stokes line. That's why normal Raman spectra generally recorded in Stokes Raman. But however, people generally not show the Stokes Raman. People generally write in as a Raman sheet or wave number per centimeter inverse. But in it is more common way that it is a Stokes frequency in the lower wave number side of your relay line. This was the explanation about the basic theory of Raman. Actually, this is the Raman first experimental spectrometer which was built by the C.V. Raman in ISCS Kolkata when he was working as a scientist. So in earlier time, actually C.V. Raman has used mercury arc lamp for exciting your molecules and material. Mercury source was light source was used to scatter from a sample. But nowadays, instead of any short light, laser light have revolutionized the field of the Raman spectroscopy due to unique behavior of. This is the first Raman spectra, whatever he have recorded from this instrument by benzene CCl4 by in terms of photographic plane. And whatever paper he has published in 1928 that is published in Nature, only 2-page paper, the topic of that paper was a new type of secondary radiation by C.V. Raman and his PhD student K.S. Krishnan, where he had not taken any name of the Raman here. Raman was given a name after the discovery of this experiment. So generally it was the basic part of the Raman spectroscopy. Now I would like to define very briefly about the instrumentation part. Actually any spectroscopic technique means light matter interactions. So you can see that spectroscopic techniques have three important parts. Third part is source of the light, and second part will be spectrometer, and third part will be your detector. This is the three important part of any spectrometer. In Raman spectroscopy, source of the light will be nowadays laser, light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Due to monochromatic, very high coherent beam, laser have an important role in the Raman spectrum. Now laser have different wavelength, and now after scattering from your sample, now it will go to the spectrometer. Now you know that whatever prism was doing earlier, white light dispersed into 7 colors in terms of which they are. Similar way, your light will be dispersed into different wavelength and frequency of your particular thing. So now any specific wavelength of chosen wavelength will fall on the prism selector. Now prism selector PS will select definite wavelength of light, whatever you want, and it will neglected the unwanted signal from the your laser light. And now suppose we are using argon ion laser, 5.5 nanometer argon ion laser. Now it will come from the mirror or polarization rotator comes to on the sample. Sample can be your liquid, solid, gas, whatever your sample. Now laser light will be incident on this sample. Now scattered light will be happen there. So using the photo lens, we can collect or gather the scattered signal from your molecules and material. Now after gathering this sample from photo lens and using the slit, it will enter into spectrometer. Similar way, whatever the prism was rolled or played role earlier, nowadays people are using grating or double monochromator as a instead of the prism. So now you can see that after disperse the light into this spectrometer, after the dispersion, now light will be detected. This photon will be detected by the detector. Generally in Raman spectroscopy, charge coupled detector known as CCD generally used for the recording. After recording the signal, now spectra, Raman spectra can be generated through the origin by XY axis data in the computer. So these three parts will be working different way. So now this is the 90 scattering geometry. You can see this is the 90 scattering geometry of the scatter. But nowadays people are using also 180 scattering geometry for the Raman spectroscopy. And accuracy can be defined by several parameters of the slit opening, or the quality of your spectrometer, how the grating will, how zooms in the grating in per millimeter are happening there. It can be defined by. So suppose this is the original Renesas micro Raman setup. Now you can see this is the 180 scattering geometry, not 90 scattering geometry. So you can see this is the Raman Raman. So you can see that laser light generally comes from upside, from here. Now using some microscope here, various microscope contain various objective like 5 into 20 or 50 into 20. According to your choice, you can select any micro objective, and your sample can be put at here, at the place of the light here, at the glass sample or any specific liquid sample in any quartz cube. Now laser light will come from the upside. Now laser light will be comes from here and scattered back scattering geometry. And now back scattering geometry, inside there will be spectrometer and detector will be last side of CCD. Light will be detected, and at computer you will getting the Raman signal after scattering from the molecule. Now the important thing is what information you are getting from the Raman spectroscopy. Actually, any spectral feature, Raman and IR generally provide every information on the basis of three different parameters. Three different parameters is, first is peak position or frequency in x-axis data. That is known as frequency or peak position. Y-axis data is Raman intensity, and this is known as full width at half maximum. That is known as line width. So generally, these three different parameters, you can concluded every information from your molecules and material. Frequency, intensity, and line width change. How these are giving information, it is presented here. So line shape analysis, you can say any spectral features can be analyzed these three different parameters: wave number shift, line width change, and intensity variation. Wave number shift, if your molecules have any particular peak showing the shift. Redshift means lower frequency side or higher frequency side. Lower frequency side shift is happening, we call it red shift. Higher frequency side peak is happening, it may be blue shift. So nature of it generally shows the nature of interaction. Suppose if you are mixing any molecules to any other molecule, how it can be mixed? where it can be interact, it can be decided by the Raman spectroscopy, because that particular functional group showing the shift in their frequency. So it will generally show the nature of interaction. It will be either attractive interaction between both molecules or repulsive interaction. A red shift or blue shift, by frequency difference you can identify. And line width change generally showing the dynamic property. Means you can, calculating by this line width at appropriate condition, you can find out the vibration dephasing or population relaxation. Generally Raman and IR, the whatever line spreading or line width you are collecting are coming from this vibration dephasing part. And you know that this vibration dephasing have much larger time scale, like picosecond order, and this population relaxation or wave number shift are happening in nanosecond order. So we can see this picosecond order is very larger, means a very high time scale. That's why means line width generally decided by this vibration dephasing in larger amount. And third amount, whatever you can conclude it from the Raman spectroscopy, is intensity variation. Intensity, if any Raman have larger intensity, we can show that it's showing the molecular association, or you can say that the amount of material, how much amount of material is present in your molecule. Suppose if you are doping some material in concentration wise, that particular intensity where your dopant atoms will be targeted, that particular peak will be enhanced in your intensity. So you can easily identify the molecular association, or you can say transition probability. Suppose your material is going to transit from solid state to liquid state or liquid to gas, so you can also find out this transition state in liquid crystal and something like that using the Raman intensity. So overall structure relation correlation can be obtained. Suppose I am going to give a now simple example application of Raman spectroscopy starting from molecular interactions. Now this is the simplest example of structure relation. Because you know that if you understand the molecular structure or material structure, then it means that you can also know their property. That's why we call it structure have direct connection with the properties. If you want to change the structure by changing the electronic environment, by doping, then electronic, material, magnetic property or optical property can be changed. How that property will be changed? It can be obtained structural information by Raman spectroscopy. Suppose simplest example here I am going to give. This is the acetonitrile molecule, simple acetonitrile molecule. This is CH3 C triple bond N. Now I want to mix methanol or water molecule in this acetonitrile, and let us see how Raman spectroscopy can detect these types of molecular spectral behavior change. So suppose this is the Raman spectra of pure acetonitrile molecule, and we are focusing the only C triple bond N stretching mode. Due to this C triple bond N stretching mode, we are getting a Raman peak at 2250 centimeter inward because of nitrile group always obtained at this position. So now we can see that Raman spectral analysis show that there are two peaks in this CN stretching mode of pure acetonitrile sample are here. One peak is due to the dimer formation of molecule of the acetonitrile, one is isolated. You can see this C triple bond N make a strong hydrogen bond with HC of the same molecule. Hydrogen bond formation with same molecule we call it dimer. So dimer can be found by the Raman spectroscopy. We can easily identify. Now let us see. Now we want to change the environment of the acetonitrile molecule. Now you can change the environment of acetonitrile molecule either by nanoparticle, either by solvent molecule, or either by any types of pH change, any type. So let us see. Now I am going to mix the methanol molecule in this acetonitrile. Let us see what happens. Now when we mix the methanol molecule CH3OH, now methanol makes the hydrogen bond with this acetonitrile group from the OH and N. OHN makes a strong hydrogen bond. Now we can see that after 50 molar fraction of the interaction of acetonitrile methanol, a new peak is obtained at the higher wave number side. Now if you mix the more methanol molecule, like 90% methanol molecule are mixing in acetonitrile molecule, then we can see that the peak intensity of this new developed peak is goes on increasing. You can see the intensity of this peak was here, but now the intensity of this newly developed peak was increasing. It means that now interacting of the methanol molecule, it made the strong hydrogen bond with acetonitrile, and Raman spectral features are changes in corresponding. So now you can compare in neat, there is no any peak in the right hand side, but after interacting with methanol, a new peak was generated due to the hydrogen bond formation. Same way, dimer formation was low. Similar way, now you can obtain similar type of spectral changes of any molecules and material by this way. And you can identify why hydrogen bond is formation as C triple bond N, because at this particular position only you are going to get the spectral features check. Now overall you can say spectra structure correlation can be obtained. Similar way, a simplest example, when during my PhD, I had published this paper in RSC Advances where I had shown dimethyl sulfoxide, DMSO. Actually, I had proved that DMSO not only in dimer form, in neat form also, high dilution, still DMSO plays an important role in a dimer. Because actually I had read an article in Times of India News that DMSO played a magic bullet for the cancer treatment. Means when DMSO was mixed with the antivirus or anti-cancerous drug molecule, then it's more effective than against the cancerous cell. So my motivation was what was so special about the DMSO molecule by the Raman spectroscopy. Then Raman spectra has been recorded for the pure DMSO. You can see pure dimethyl sulfoxide in the H double bond O stretching region. This DFT calculation for H double bond O will be, I have focused only H double bond OP, which are coming at 1040 centimeter inward. Now this SO bond have four spectral features analyzed by Raman. Have four peak, that is known as dimeric phase. Various dimer, symmetric, antisymmetric, and different. But when we mix the water or methanol molecule in this DMSO, then we can see that a new peak is developed on the lower hand side. You can say there is no any peak in pure DMSO, but after 90% DMSO interaction with DMSO, you can see a new peak was developed, which are coming to the molecular interaction of DMSO with water due to the hydrogen bond interaction. And at this time, only symmetric DMSO stretching mode and hydrogen bond formation was obtained. So we had proved that in pure form, your experimental and theoretical I had compared during my PhD days and found that there was a direct connection between these four trimer and experimental finding. Because experimental data, theoretical data, we can conclude it is in trimer form in the pure case. And in the high dilution, your dimeric or trimeric nature was break, hydrogen bond formation will take place. So you can understand this type of structure property relationship using the Raman spectroscopy. Moreover, Raman spectroscopy and fraud, you can identify the forgery if happen in your any pure sample. Like suppose you have suppose any impurities are mixing in your pearl sample. If you are taking FT Raman for that sample, so you can see in pure pearl there are only 3 peaks are happening here, are getting here. But if there are some forgery or impurity are mixing in pearl system, then you are getting a frox pearl are giving a lot of peak in the Raman spectrum. So means after comparing this types of experiment, you can also find out you can forgery involved in your sample, whether it is pure or impure. Simple way, in forensic science, Raman spectroscopy providing the fingerprint of the molecule. Fingerprint means every molecule,
मुझे कान में लगाने वाला देना.
Every material or many molecules. I think there are some disturbance.
Please continue, sir.
Sir, you have muted yourself.
Sir, continue.
Okay. So you can see that. Okay, you can see that every person has different molecular fingerprint region. So if you apply the Raman spectra of different fingerprint of different people, then you are getting the different Raman spectra due to the involvement of different compound of CHO in the fingerprint region. So generally,
Sir, you have muted yourself. Your voice is not coming.
it is automatic muted. I don't know how. Okay, anyway.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
I think someone muting me. I think it's muting from your side. Someone is doing, because I am not mute myself.
Sir, now it's clear.
Okay. So you can see, so this type of forensic science crime you can solve by the Raman spectroscopy. So now more than 25 variants of the Raman spectroscopy has been developed in order to enhance the sensitivity, improve the spatial resolution, acquire every specific information like resonance, Raman microscopy. So now resonance Raman spectroscopy are very important because Raman resonance means that if your excitation wavelength of the laser light, if match the electronic transition of your any molecule, that particular peak associated of that peak will be greatly enhanced, and we can focus on that particular peak in order to get the information. So generally resonance Raman spectroscopy are very important for the larger molecule like polypeptide, where more than 100 or 200 peaks are obtained in the Raman spectroscopy. Now surface enhanced Raman spectroscopy are very important techniques nowadays using the nanoparticle. Today I will discuss, and the CARS, that is non-linear Raman techniques, are very, very important techniques in the 20th century. We will discuss in very brief. Now application of Raman spectroscopy in carbon-based material. You know that carbon is one of the most abundant element in the universe. A part of the conventional form of the carbon like diamond, graphite, the discovery of carbon nanotube, fullerene and graphene added a new dimension in the carbon science. And Raman spectroscopy are very, very important tool to characterize the carbon-based material. Why? Because generally this carbon nanotube or graphene material have sp2s combination of sp, sp2 or sp3 hybridization, generally which falls in the range of 0 to 6 electron volt. And generally 0 to 6 electron volt come into the ultra UV, visible or NIR region. It means that Raman spectroscopy provide a chance of the resonance effect in the carbon-based material. That's why it is very, very important in carbon-based material. And you can say that without implication of the Raman spectroscopy in carbon material.
So you are mute again.
Now again muted.
Actually, I think it is automatically happens. From your side, someone doing like that, I don't know.
So who is host? Only that person can mute.
But sir, it's not possible.
Please remove Utkarsh Singh. Utkarsh Singh did 2-3 times.
Because someone doing mute me, I don't know.
Please continue, sir. Some participant had did. I have removed him. Please continue,
Okay.
sir.
So now you can see the carbon-based material have a very, very important application in nanoscale instruction, high surface area catalysis support, high thermal conductivity due to this transistor, thin film, energy storage application like fuel cell, capacitor, lithium-ion battery, and nanotechnology, aerospace, defense, biosensor, drug delivery system. Everywhere carbon-based material is important. So I want to describe very fast about the Raman application in carbon-based material. You know that three-dimensional structure of the carbon-based material is graphite or diamond. In graphite, you can see different layer of the carbon-based sample is there. Because in carbon, where only CC stretching mode is present here. Because it's graphene, you can say single layer of graphite is known as graphene. This is a three-dimensional. Now two-dimensional mode is single layer of graphite is known as graphene. And in graphene, what is there? Only CC bond is there. It means CC bond is there. It means Raman spectroscopy will be applicable for the chemical bond vibration. Now, if you hold this graphene in terms of nanotube, we call it carbon nanotube. Means holding of graphene is known as nanotube. Means you can fold this graphene in different shape, like F types of junction, Y types of junction, Z types of junction, according to your requirement in your science. And means you can tune the structural, electronic and optical property of this graphene by changing the structure, by functionalizing quantum dot or something like that. So fullerene like buckyball, C60, C54, I think different types of structure you can see. And Raman spectroscopy, how you can identify the number of layers present in your graphene and things, let us see. Because CC bond will be there and it providing the resonance effect. So you can see Raman spectra of graphene and graphite, how you can differentiate it. If you are taking the Raman spectra of graphite, that is three-dimensional, and graphene as a two-dimensional. Means single layer and this is multi-layer. You can see that in graphene, the peak intensity at this peak are very small. Means graphene generally can be characterized by G band. G and D band there are two types of band which are obtained in the graphene and thing. G band means graphene band, generally in plane vibrations we can say, translational motion you can say. So G band means graphene band, you can say in plane mode of this thing. Generally G band obtained at this amount at 1560 centimeter. And D band, now suppose now you are going to fold this graphene into nanotube. It means that this graphene have sp2 hybridization right now, but now when you provide a deviation or defect in this
It's not
sample,
visible.
Sir, everything is visible. Please pin sir to your main screen.
my screen is visible.
No, sir.
Dinesh ji, my
The presentation is not visible. You are visible. Yes, right now the presentation is visible.
my presentation is visible here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can see that after folding this graphene, it means you are providing a defect in your sample. If
Sir,
any
it's not your
defect,
screen.
I think someone
Someone
interfered
else
here.
is presenting
The
their
light is
screen.
not visual.
I think someone interrupted here. I don't know. Again, I am sharing. Stop
Sir,
sharing.
it's
I think someone interrupting here. I don't know.
Yes, sir. Your slides are sharing by someone, so that is not visible. Presentation. Right now, this is visible, sir.
Right now, visible.
Yes, sir.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can see any deviation in this graphene in terms of sp3 hybridization, then we can easily identify the changes in the graphene in terms of D band, that is known as disorder or defect band, can be introduced in your Raman spectrum. You can see there here graphene layer can be defined by like 1 layer, 2 layer, 5 layer, 10 layer, and graphite are easily identified by the Raman spectroscopy by identification of this band. Similar way, if any defects or D peak will be introduced, means then D band will be located at 1350 centimeter inward. That is due to this thing. So suppose Raman spectra of graphene oxide, now we are functionalize the graphene by oxide group. Then it means that we are changing the graphene structure. Means we are introducing a change or defect in your graphene sample. It means that any disorder or D band can be generated in the Raman spectra in terms of D band at 1350 centimeter inward. So D band and G band occurring. You can see monolayer graphene and graphene oxide means in graphene you have just incorporated the oxide. That's why a disorder has been introduced, and in Raman spectroscopy this D band, additional D band will be obtained. And further, you can also compare the graphene oxide and reduced graphene oxide by changing the Raman intensity between D band and G band. Similar way, Raman spectra of carbon nanotube means now graphene can be folded in the tube like carbon nanotube. We call it carbon nanotube. This carbon nanotube can be identified by radial breathing mode and metallic and semiconducting property by this type. So now this is the singing G band and RBM mode. You can calculate the frequency of RBM by 2 to R4 upon dt plus A. So now one can also identify the electronic structure of single wall carbon nanotube, multi wall carbon nanotube, or different application of your material using the Raman spectroscopy. Moreover, the characteristic nature of metallic, semiconducting nature of the graphite or carbon nanotube can be also characterized by the different. And it is proved that multi-wall carbon nanotube showing a strong dispersive nature by Raman spectroscopy. Moreover, graphene quantum dot, you know that very important implication, because changing the size and the structure of graphene quantum dot result in a desired range of the optical and electronic property. Means whatever property you want to tune for a particular application, you can functionalize the graphene by different functional groups like carboxylic group, CO2 gas group, and the same time the size of this graphene quantum dot can be increased or decreased, and you can tune the property. So you can see how the Raman spectroscopy are giving the information about that thing. You can see here graphene like quantum dot 1, quantum dot 2, quantum dot 3. Now you are increasing size from 1, 2 to 3. Now you can see that the intensity ratio of the D and G band are changing. Here D band was lower, but G band was larger. But at the case of here quantum chain, D and G band are. So now you can also identify this new peak, extra peak in the D and G band after this functionalization of CO2H because of this star D band. Means this D star means that disorder has been introduced in your graphene by terms of some functionalization of. That's why disorder band has been introduced in the Raman spectral feature. Everything, whatever you are doing in your molecules material can be reflected in your Raman spectral feature. So now similar way you can see the same things we have functionalized for the time dependent property, and we can identify the changes of the Raman feature. And this is a melamine showing the Raman surface enhanced Raman, but I want to focus now Raman spectra of layered tungsten dichalcognides. So I think multi-layer, how much layer are present in your molecules of dichalcognite material, nanomaterial can be identified by the Raman. Because if you're taking the Raman spectra for these things, then from 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer or 4 layer, so we can see that the particular integrated intensity ratio for this mode of first peak and second peak are changing. You can see the first peak is here in 1 layer is larger than second peak. But when layer is changing from 1 layer to 4 layer, the first peak intensity is lower than second layer. It means that this relative intensity ratio change generally provides the information about the number of layer present in your dichalcognite nanomaterial. The Raman spectroscopy also identifies how many number of layers are generally present in your sample. And according to your requirement, you can tune that particular number of layer for your particular desired applications. Similar way, same thing, whatever I have told you, it is written here. So overall conclusion about the carbon nanotube is that Raman spectroscopy features obtained from presence of functional group, radial breathing mode can be defined in carbon nanotube, number of thickness and layers of carbon nanotube can be defined by Raman spectroscopy, even different zigzag armchair types of structure can be identified. So interaction of interface of the Hestroid structure like MOS2 and graphene are solely understood by the Raman spectrum. So now I would like to define the surface enhanced Raman, SERS, which is a very, very important technique nowadays in the research area. Surface enhanced Raman scattering. If you remember, during the first slide, I had told you that Raman is a very weak signal. Only one photon can be scattered from the sample out of 10 million photon. You can say out of 10 million photon, only one photon is scattered. How much it is weak signal. But fortunately, there are some possibilities to increase the Raman signal by introducing the metal nanoparticle in your molecule. Because metal nanoparticle generally provide the plasmonic structure, which plasmonic structure giving the resonance type of structure where Raman signal can be enhanced up to 10 to the power 11 times. And that's why you can detect a single molecule of behavior of any molecule. And if you know that a single molecule behavior of any particular bulk molecule, then you can predict whole the picture of that particular molecule. Similar like in earlier day, only one rice was cooked. On the basis of one rice information, you can predict that all the rice has been cooked. Similar way, if you understand the one molecular behavior using this surface enhanced Raman scattering, you can predict all the picture of the Raman scattering. So surface enhanced Raman scattering, known as SERS, generally it happens in the nanometal colloidal surface. So metal nanocolloid, why it important? Because it's showing the plasmonic structure, collective oscillations of electron at metal providing the plasmonic structure. So you can see Raman signal can be enhanced 10 to the power 11 times. So you can see that it means that Raman signal providing the information of single molecular information. Also it has some information, suppose if your molecule showing the quench, fluorescence showing fluorescence, because fluorescence is the enemy of the Raman. If any sample showing the fluorescence, which are covering all the scattering cross section, it means that fluorescence can be also quenched in the surface enhanced Raman scattering. So means you can also detect biomolecules, any hazardous like mercury, which are very hazardous to our body, like explosive material, TNT, RDF, you can detect by surface enhanced Raman spectroscopy by a small amount. Means you can say picomolar concentration of any particular hazardous material is present in any molecule or liquid phase. you can also detect that particular drops of molecule by Raman spectroscopy. How? Let us see by some example. How much time is there? Please let me know before 10 minutes. Okay. May I have 15 minutes more? Dinesh, may I have 15 minutes more?
Hello.
May I have 15 minutes more?
Yeah, sir, 10 minutes more.
10 minutes, okay. Okay, so you can see that how the surface enhanced condition are happening. Generally, metal nanoparticle condition, you can find out the surface enhancement. There are two types of surface enhancement mechanism: electrofield techniques and chemical enhancement. In electrofield enhancement, generally it is dominating over the chemical enhancement. In chemical enhancement, generally metal nanoparticle bind with the chemical bond and providing the charge transfer mechanism where the Raman signal can be enhanced. So now I want to show some application of surface enhanced mechanism. Like see, now the application of surface enhanced in detection of explosive in the real system. Now you know that generally terrorists are using this explosive material like TNT, trinitrotoluene, or RDF in attack of the human civilization, and government authorities are seeking some tool which can detect this type of explosive material at surface or at some particular position in a very smaller amount. That's why surface enhanced Raman spectroscopy can play a very important role, because it is a non-destructive technique and real monitoring technique in order to without changing any property of your molecule. Now you can see this TNT and RDF very dangerous and explosive. So now this is the structure of TNT, RDF and TAP. You can see that this RDF structure have some molecular functional group. It means that it has some molecular vibration. Molecular vibrations are there. It means that Raman spectroscopy have clear application in that detection of RDF. Now suppose first of all, in surface enhanced Raman spectroscopy, you have to prepare the nano substrate of the metal nanoparticle. You can make metal nanoparticle like gold nanoparticle in different shape and size, like nano rod, nano sphere, or bimetallic, trimetallic, or triangle, nano triangle, whatever shape and size. Every shape and size have different property. So every shape you can see and apply for the surface enhanced detector. Suppose now people have used this sensor for explosive detection by some implementation of the nano rod, like this gold nano rod. Yellow shows the nano gold rod. So now this nano gold rod generally synthesized by chemical route, and now when we put this nano rod on your chemical TNT, RDS and PTN, then you can see the Raman spectra on that nano substrate. You can see that in there is no signal of the base terapent in the TNT solution, Cassidan tape, bare sample methanol drop. But when we apply the nano of a micromolar of TNT solution on the gold, the signal has been obtained. So means if you decreasing the concentration of the solution, you can see TNT, RDN, TNDNT and TNB, which are very close structure, can be also identified the Raman spectroscopy. Same functional group is slightly changing in your molecule can be also identified by this. So TNT, RDN, TNB, DNT can be identified with some Raman marker band of 1380 centimeter inward. Right now, if you are changing the concentration, decreasing the concentration of TNT in your sample, so it means at which concentration you are getting this Raman signal, you can see that is the limit of detection of your. It means that after applying the gold nano rod as a nano substrate, you can detect the picomolar concentration of the explosive material using this Raman technique. Similar way, various nano substrates can be prepared in order to detect this explosive material of TNT using Raman signal. You can see there are some PAPT, that is known as p-aminobenzyl thiol, generally can be played a role in order to detect the TNT in the place of the gold silver nano particle, and the Raman signal will be greatly enhanced by this approach. And you can see that in this figure, in the background, in the bottom spectrum, there is no any peak, but at the higher spectrum, you can see 1084 peak was greatly enhanced. So you can see that at this red one showing the 10 to the power minus 11 molar concentration of your TNT on that sample. It means that a small amount means, or you can say picomolar concentration of molecule can be detected using search. If you take any search spectra of this TNT at a small amount, then these three peaks will be obtained in your Raman spectrum. You can detect this explosive material by identified by 108 centimeter of peak in your Raman spectrum. So now such detection of nuclear material, you know that in nuclear weapons, nuclear material are very helpful, and nuclear test, a lot of hazardous nuclear material can be come in the environment, which are very dangerous for our health, human health. It can causes the cancer and many things. So means this nuclear types of material can be also identified in a very small amount in the environment using the surface enhanced, using this peel off and paste method. Because again OUO, that is a Raman marker band, will be 870 centimeter inwards, and in the presence it can be detectable. You can see how much concentration, very low concentration can be detectable using the Raman spectroscopy of the uranium material or nuclear material. Tap water and solid matrix everywhere matter. Microscopic citrine, a hazardous material. Actually, I had worked this work in South Korea, and this paper was published in Journal of Hazardous Material. Actually, I had a very simple experiment. I had detected this citrine, which are very cancerous cell hazardous molecules. I had detected this molecule using surface enhanced Raman scattering in a amount of micron level. So this was thing also application in the shell. So I think there are no much time, so I will also skip the slide of the self-healing polymer. Actually, it is a very important how the self-healing polymer are working. Stress-induced generation of microcracks, induction of mobile phase, polymerization, and helix sample. Means if any material can be broken during the important things like aeronautics application or something like that. If any microcrack is generated, simultaneously there will be generation of induction mobile phase, and there are some polymer will play a role which will generally heal this damage by itself. Like here, suppose this 1, 2, 3 things. Suppose a microcrack, this white version has been generated in your any sample or any material. This microcrack is generated. Similar way, there are two balls, green ball and this purple ball. Green ball, that is a softened ball, this hard ball is the purple ball. So this polymer generally, when a microcrack is generated, then simultaneously your purple or green ball will be broken due to the pressure of this crack. So this polymer will be broke, means monomer will release into the crack position, and now this purple will provide as a catalysis which will fill this crack by this thing, and now crack will be healed by that sample sensor. That's why we call it self-healing polymer. In a Mission Mangalam movie, if you seen, there was a dialogue that spacecraft was satellite was broken sometime, but sometimes after some time it was healed by self. That's why known as self-healing polymer played an important role there, where Raman spectroscopy can important role to investigate this self-healing polymer behavior about this thing by understanding some marker Raman peak. You can see, suppose I am giving the example up here, then this peak after 30 minutes, you can see this peak 914 centimeter inverse peak was 1:8 higher 30 minutes. It means that after 30 minutes, all the microcracks will be healed by itself. So this Raman spectroscopy can important tool for this thing. So I think within 5 minutes I will try to compile application of Raman spectroscopy in biomedical field. In endoscopy, you can put the optical fiber in your body, in your stomach, and now you can get any information from your body in the inside of your body in terms of endoscopy, where Raman spectroscopy. So now Raman spectroscopy in medical application clearly identified the cancerous cell and healthy cell. Suppose if anyone have a healthy cell, so Raman spectra of healthy cell and cancerous cell will be different. Means you can easily identify the normal cell and healthy cell by the Raman spectroscopy, because all the peaks are generating are already well known. Like if you are getting 1000 peak, it is protein, 1030 glycogen, 1257 DNA protein. Every peak have already assigned in the literature. You can identify it, and cancer cell can be. So dengue, that is also a virus. Dengue infected virus, blood serum and non-dengue blood serum can be easily identified. The Raman spectroscopy. You can see there is a clear differentiate between the dengue and non-dengue patient from the Raman spectroscopy. Similar way, you can define any types of things on the sample from there. So I think coherent anti-Stokes Raman, it is a very complementary technique, non-linear technique. Actually, here pulse laser actually generally people are used, 2 pulse laser and 1 3 stroke laser, generally probe laser. So I think time is not allowed, so I will skip this part of the cards. Actually this is the cards current anti-stroke Raman, where 3 simultaneously 3 laser actually are used in order to probe the molecular dynamic, and whatever happening in your molecule in femtosecond order can be characterized by this. Since actually this setup is actually in Germany when I was working in a postdoc, and you have a direct application in the biological imaging. And COVID-19, you can see the structure of COVID-19 have different S protein, hemoglobin, acetylation glycoprotein, spike glycoprotein, and E protein, that is known as small immunoglycoprotein, M protein. So it means that this coronavirus, there is a protein structure, and you know that all the proteins are made by the molecule. Molecules made by chemical bond. It means that Raman spectroscopy can play important role to identify the COVID virus also. So many people are working in this field. SARS-CoV small techniques are generally explained on the basis of this technique, where the different part of glycoprotein, E protein, D protein was identified in the Raman spectrum by the different Raman signals. And very recently a paper was published in PNAS where virion techniques was developed on the basis of Raman spectroscopy to detect the coronavirus. And these techniques are very portable techniques. It will work on the working in the surface enhanced Raman scattering. So I think time is not allowed, so I will conclude overall my talk that Professor Kiefer, a well-known Raman spectroscopist from Germany, wrote, "I am asking myself, what cannot be done with Raman spectroscopy? A wonderful tool, analytical tool for science and technology, which was discovered by C.V. Raman." So we can see all parts of the science can be covered using the Raman spectroscopy. The advance of Raman spectroscopy further may be a non-destructive, non-invasive, real-time monitoring tool for investigate the COVID-19 virus. So for the beginner, like some master student are there, recently we have published one book in the spectroscopy techniques. Here all the spectroscopic techniques starting from IR, ATR, IR, Raman, surface enhanced Raman, coherent anti-stroke, resonance, every topics of spectroscopy has been covered in this book, from the basics, instrumentation and application. In very detailed things are given. If you are interested, you can go through this book. It is also available in online. You can find out all the techniques in detail about this. I would like to thanks to my acknowledged collaborator and thanks from Professor Marnuf, Joans, Dunfeg, and other person from Germany, and some foundation for providing the funding to continue my research, like DST SER award, DST SERV, and my PhD student at IIT. And this is my research group working in the PhD under my guidance. And thank you very much.
Hello.
Yes, now questions.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have few questions. May I?
Yes.
Yes,
Sir,
yes. You can
sir,
ask
where
two,
you
three
have-
questions.
Okay, sir. I have only 3 questions. Sir, where you have mentioned your experimental setup, sir, you have used Fresnel ROM. Sir,
Yeah.
can you please show the slide?
Yes.
Sir, why we are using here? It's Fresnel ROM. Sir, what is the
Yeah.
use of it? Can't we directly
Actually,
use the polarized light?
the polarized light. Actually, generally this setup is important of this polarized light, because there are 2 polarizer are putting here. You can see here P1 and P2. Polarized means that actually any molecule during this vibration not only have pure vibration mode, even also it have reorientation motion. So generally, if you want to contain all the information about the molecular vibration, then in intensity you have to perform I parallel minus 4/3 I perpendicular. Means minus 4/3 I perpendicular you have to perform in your y-axis intensity data. That's why you are getting the pure polarized Raman setup. So generally this is known as pure polarized Raman. Pure polarized means that's why you are putting the polarizer 1 and polarizer 2 in order to consider that we have your molecule has been laser light is purely polarized.
Okay. Sir, I know that. And after we are using polarizer P1.
Yeah.
the light gets polarized. Then we are
Yeah.
using a polarization rotator. Then we are not having the we have, I think, some way we have lost the polarization we have gotten from P1. If you
Yeah.
rotate the plane of polarization, then why are we are using this PR?
This P2.
No, sir, PR,
P,
PR.
P, PR is not that is a polarization rotator double Fresnel ROM. Actually, double. Actually, in order to ensure that, suppose sometimes after rotating the plane, you are not sure if Fresnel ROM means all the polarization are happening there. In order to ensure 100% ensure our light is purely polarized. That's why this Fresnel ROM are using there.
Okay, sir. Sir, another question was in where you have shown the spectra. In you have shown that the peaks interaction between interaction structure, structure dependence of spectra, where you are methanol plus some water. I think, if I'm right.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So, sir, why these two peaks are there and one single peak? Please, I want a brief explanation of it.
Yeah. In first peak you are talking about.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
these two
you can
peaks.
see this is the pure acetonitrile. Pure acetonitrile, if you are taking the Raman spectra, then you are finding the Raman x-axis, y-axis data. In x-axis, that is a frequency. So now actually in acetonitrile, you can see CH3, C triple bond here. So generally actually in Raman and IR, actually generally people focus on the functional group, polar group. So here you can see C triple bond is the polar group. So that's why we have focused on C triple bond, which frequency always comes in the region of 2250 centimeters. So now when we take the Raman spectra, so now if we analyze, means we decompose this Raman spectral feature, then we have found two peaks. You can see a small asymmetry is observed on the lower wave number side. So generally we can predict why these two peaks are happening. So we can conclude that this small peak is coming due to the dimer formation of acetonitrile. Means अभी हमने acetonitrile में कुछ नहीं मिलाया है. Means acetonitrile में कुछ नहीं मिलाया मतलब इसमें dimer भी बनते हैं. Means same molecule make the hydrogen bond by same molecule. Hydrogen bond is formed between two identical molecules. That's why we call it dimer. So that dimer formation can be easily find by this Raman spectroscopy. You can see. लेकिन इसमें जैसे हमने वाटर मिलाया, अब ये डायमर क्या होगा? ब्रेक होगा. अपना जो उनके अंदर कोऑर्डिनेशन है ब्रेक होगा. That can be seen. This peak is decreased and then new peak is generated. Hydrogen bond with methanol water has been interacted.
Thank you, sir. Got that. Sir, one more question. The last. Sir,
Yes.
Where you have discussed a little bit about CARS cars, you have said that you are using 3 lasers. Sir, as
Yes.
much I don't have any advanced readings on cars, but a little bit I know that we are using in our course we have read about 2 lasers we are using. Sir, what is
Yeah, you are right. Absolutely, you are right. Actually, it depends on your choice. Actually, you can see this is the cars arrangement. Your molecule generally remains in ground state, that is V equal to 0 state. Same time, we are incident a laser light known as pump. That is a pulse laser. That is a pump laser light, you can say. If this pump laser excites your molecule from ground state to virtual energy state, same time if Stokes beams are present in there, so joint action of Stokes light and pump, they make a coupling between ground state and excited state. And same time if you are applying another laser light as known as probe, which are going to study what is the dynamic by some delayed light, then you are getting the information about the Raman signal. So ये आपको कहना है कि आप 3 लेजर भी ले सकते हैं, but you can take 2 laser also. How? I can show you. यहाँ पे हम arrangement में दिखाते हैं. Suppose here one laser light, green laser light you are telling here. So now you can separate out this one laser light into 2 parts.
उतर के चलो वहाँ.
You can separate out this laser light in 2 parts. That will work as a probe, pump and Stokes light. And third light, laser light, whatever you want to probe, you can take. Means with 2 laser light, this experiment can be performed. It is 100% true. But however, involvement of 3 laser can be also have a unique property.
यस सर 2 लेवल से किया जा सकता है. सर 3 लेवल से क्या चेंजेस आएंगे, क्या एडवांसमेंट हो जाएंगे जो 2 लेवल लेजर से नहीं हो सकते हैं, वो सर हम पूछना चाह रहे हैं.
Same. There is no any difference between third laser or second laser use. There is no any change. But only you want to change the path length and the path length change in order to get the good quality of signal, Raman signal. Because some path length it is important parameter. And because of this arrangement, you can quench the Raman signal, enhance the Raman intensity, and fluorescence can be also decreased by this setup.
Okay, sir. Sir, I have said it because in Demtroder it is said that this is only a four-way mixing.
Four-way
Car-
mixing, yes.
This is called four-way mixing process. But when we are using three lasers, then it will be more than four-way mixing process something, or it will be remain four-way mixing process, or its name get changed something.
Yeah, actually it is already concept of three-way mixing, but four-way mixing also very implemented in order to a biocards or setup. There is a biocard setup. Actually, phase matching condition must be fulfilled in this card instrument. Phase matching condition in order to full. That's why this third wave and four-wave mixing have a different